Okay, so this is an old article that I read recently. I didn't realize he interviewed with Forbes about this situation, about PvE players. Anyways, I wanted to mention multiple things. I was gonna make this video into a short video, but I think I'm gonna yap a bit more about it, so I made it into a full video. Hope you guys enjoy, and also do tell me in the comments what you guys think about it. Check out the full video. Apparently, Nikita says Star of Wipe is like 80% PvP and 20% PvE. When did they say that? Forbes interview apparently. Okay. 50% of Escape from Tarkov players are playing the PvE mode by the end of the wipe. 50% of the players playing PvE by the end of the wipe. According to game director Nikita has revealed players split between the two modes. When was this? 2025, January 2nd. Since launching in the very controversial way last year, the PvE game mode is from Escape from Tarkov has proven very popular. End of the year, around 50% of active players in PvE mode. At the start of the wipe, 15% to 20% play PvE and 80% go to PvP. I kind of believe that, yeah. Because at the start of the wipe, as I always say, and I even recommend you guys to, play at the start of the wipe and play it for like a month. Because the legitimate players and also casual players ratio is the highest, said Nikita. However, as the wipe progresses, the ratio becomes 50%, 50%. Because PvP will get wiped, PvE won't get wiped, so people will play on PvE or play a lot more. And PvP, after the hype is gone, people don't play it usually. It does make sense. And I also want to kind of add some comment about this percentage. People will think, okay, whole Tarkov player base has divided into PvP and PvE. If somebody says 50%, but the problem is, I bet PvE brought in a lot of new players. It's not the original Tarkov players turned into half, PvP and PvE. It's rather original Tarkov players stopped playing PvP, chunk of people left the game, and then after PvE got announced, tons of people bought the game. A new PvE players, 50% due to that. PvP players go down in numbers as the wipe progresses on, and a lot of people keep on playing PvE because there's no wipe, but also players buy more PvE. The PvE just increased in number of total Tarkov players, not Tarkov players got only divided by PvP and PvE. Towards the end of the wipe, there is often little incentive to play as all your progress will be wiped. Exactly. This leads to a lot of players, myself included, often deciding to call it quits for a few weeks and play something else until the wipe kicks off. Yeah, that's like the majority of the players, not Tarkov psychos like me or the others. Tarkov is, at least in my opinion, at its best during the opening weeks of the wipe. Yeah, definitely. When it's more level playing field and everyone is trying to do the same task. Then late wipe are the times when the game stabilizes and the players can start to come up with the long-term strategies. You can become the flea market king, slowly complete quest and learn the game, or challenge others, explained Nikita. Really? Nikita explained like this? I doubt it. Maybe Forbes kind of like manifested a bit. This is why PvE mode reveals its potential and becomes more popular towards the middle and the end of the wipe. Tarkov is a PvP game. Bro, it's a PvPvE game! Nikita, shut the f up! I kinda wanna add more comments about where Nikita says Tarkov is PvP game. I understand what he's trying to say. He wants people to play PvP more because that's his vision or whatever. But sadly, the game is not PvP game. It's PvPvE game. I kind of realized it, even though it's such an obvious thing from a comment somebody left on my PvE discussion. What's funny about it is that I actually tried to search like, is Tarkov PvPvE game in Google just for better official info about what they would say. What's funny is that is Escape from Tarkov a PvP game? And it says, play the competitive PvPvE first-person shooter with tactical team modes. And I was like, what? And it was Escape from Tarkov Arena, which Google was kind of being stupid. But at the same time, what's funny is that Arena, which is super duper focused on PvP, is being promoted as play the competitive PvPvE first-person shooter with tactical team modes. But on Tarkov, on Tarkov, if you try to search it, you cannot find PvPvE anywhere. The closest thing I could found was here. Escape from Tarkov is the benchmark. This is where the mechanics of escaping from a conflict zone came into being. It isn't just PvP or PvE. It's a world where every decision impacts your survival. I know Tarkov cannot be defined only with PvPvE, but PvPvE is a big category and it definitely Tarkov fits in there. Think about the quests that you guys do in Tarkov. Think about what you do in Tarkov. You fight AIs. I can at least say 50% of the gameplay is eliminating AIs or looting or whatever is related to PvE. Like half of the quest is about eliminating AIs. So I did like a little deep research function. It says eliminate the quest into eliminate quests, and then in those eliminate quests, the PMC eliminate quest is barely 33% or 29% according to what kind of target they tell you to do. If it's a specified target type or any target or mixed. Even the quest tells you do PvP 33% of the time maximum. I know it's just a 1 point, but I just wanted to point it out, wanted to share you guys how it looks like. Half of the game time, you spend your time on your stash. Well, let's exclude the stash time. Half of the time in raid, you fight AIs, you avoid AIs, and then you do PvP. So I'll say at least half. I think it's more than that, but it depends on person's playstyles too, I bet. Or actually half of the time you just run around the environment, player versus environment. You run around the environment. And Nikita wants to call it PvP game. I really don't like when he says these kind of things. Like try to push his agenda or his vision into the gamers. I know he can have his vision, but he made something, or maybe he didn't make it. I'm almost thinking that he's not an actual maker. He's just somebody who is a representative and somebody else is making the game. I'm almost thinking like that. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, it's just facts. I'm not trying to even give my agenda or my thoughts into it. It's just facts. The game is PvPvE, not PvP. But many players are afraid of PvP. Wow, he still says this? I mean, yeah, that could be a big part of it, but the PvE mode is designed to alleviate this fear. It helps the players perfect their weapon skills. Even the maker doesn't understand the game that much. I know there are people who are afraid of PvP, and maybe that could be the reason why people play PvE, but there's massive bigger reasons behind people doing that, such as not wiping, as you've been pushed it as an agenda of the game, PvE mode, but you have to still wipe it for the 1.0 content because you don't want spoilers.
The wipe will be on the release, there will be wipe. I don't know, maybe Arena 2. And also, high chance that PvE will also be wiped, but not forced wipe. It will be said like, if we want to experience the final missions, the end game content, you will need to apply the wipe for your account. Otherwise, you can continue playing with your progression, but you won't be able to start the final missions. It is being done for the sake of, I don't know, not spoiling the whole concept of the end game missions. PvE prestige. No, guys. No. The prestige is only for those who play PvP, and that's it. Maybe in the future.
I might have to add some comment on this part too. I know some people are gonna say it's optional wipe, and a lot of people who already play PvE will say, okay, I'm gonna wipe it because it doesn't matter anymore. But like what they promised, and this is different, and the part where he claims about the spoilers, I don't think it's like that viable. I think people are gonna data mine as quick as possible and post it on YouTube video. I know like whenever a new game comes out, there's always like an ending spoiler within an hour of a game release. It's always like that. I think what BSG will do is timegate the game contents on 1.0 and then show the end game or the ending whenever they want. I think they're gonna do that, which doesn't fit into the PvE game should be wiped or whatever. I understand it. I'm just saying what they promoted it to be and what they're claiming later is a bit different. It's not exactly the same. They said there's not gonna be wipe. They could just like put on like a additional quote saying that, but there's gonna be optional wipe for the 1.0 release, but they never mentioned that. I'm just pointing that out. Like, I don't know, I don't like it whenever Nikita says these kind of shit. So many players choosing to play PvE mode, it's easy to see why there is an outrage when it's initially locked behind the $250 edition game. Yeah, and you try to sell the fucking PvE mode behind $250 edition. This is more annoying because Nikita knew PvE is gonna be popular and Nikita knew that PvE people will buy it. That's why he locked it behind the unheard edition. However, after the lock of the backlash of the mode can now be purchased with $20 microtransaction, which I totally disagree still. I think if you bought the game already, it should have PvE. Buying another PvE is just fucking weird. Maybe just because PvE, some maps needs to play with the server link, so they need to borrow more server, I guess. So maybe $5, maybe, but $20, I think PvE should be free for anybody who has the game copy. It might be me being greedy as a player rather than a game developer, but I just don't think it makes sense overall. I guess there are some games that does that, sell the game as PvP, and then change it to PvE and sell again. Maybe with a campaign, I guess. Maybe with another storyline, not just eliminating the PvE aspect and then just sell it again with $20. It just doesn't make sense in my opinion. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you guys like these kind of contents, please leave a like. And do tell me in the comments what do you guys think about PvE or PvP. If you want to check me out on live, check out Twitch and YouTube and Kickstream. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye guys. Bye bye.